Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Before I start, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Today, I'll be talking about my fortuitous conversation with Anton Daniels, who posed a challenge to anyone who could tell him why a successful man should get married in today's climate. As an advocate for marriage, you would think that I should have a great answer right in my back pocket. Some smoking gun that would shut this kind of question down once and for all. This video is a semi-reaction slash do-over response, and I titled this video what I said during my conversation with Anton versus what I should have said. Okay, so what I said, going into the clip, I'm going to present a clip that between our conversation between me and him, and the clip is kind of long. But what I'm gonna do before I start the clip, I'm gonna let Anton give you a little background of where he's coming from. So I would suggest that you go back to the original video. You'll see the title on the bottom, and listen to his whole rant before we got to our conversation, because there's a lot of points in there that I agree with. However, to say nobody should get married and a man who's successful should not get married is just too I guess fatal, right? Because men are going to get married, so we need to give them some kind of solution how to navigate through these hostile waters and have a successful marriage, even here in the West, even though we know there's a lot of roadblocks and a lot of problems that might come with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share that video with you right now, and we'll let the words speak for itself. But I'm going to start with Anton giving some background. Anton giving some background, and we'll go from there.
Righteousness into your sin. That ain't how God works. Now, can everybody be forgiven? Absolutely. God gives his grace. 100%. Awesome. You want to repent for your sins, but it doesn't absolve you from being responsible for the thing that you did on this earth. I know one thing, and I know what the Bible say. And the Bible say you're going to have to give an account for everything that you did on this earth, good or bad. All of it is yours. You did something awesome. Congratulations. You get credit for that. You did something bad. Congratulations. You get credit for that. Don't sit here and try to hold people accountable for the bad decisions that you made. You made the decision. Eat that. The only person that should be held accountable for your bad decision is not the person that called it out, is the person that's laid down and wanted to open up their legs in sin and then wanted to have the government and all of our tax dollars take care of your kid. I'm not going for it. You're never going to sit here and try to hold somebody else accountable for how it is that they want to deal with your burden that you burden society with as a result of opening up your legs when you shouldn't have did it in the first place. Don't bring God into your nonsense. We're not going for it. Now, the other part of the conversation, right? Should a man get married based off of the standards that we've set traditionally, in that a man should already be proving himself to be worthy of taking care of another man's daughter, meaning that this man has already become great, he earns a good salary. You might have even prayed for him in church, in which you know what I say. Why would God curse him with such a hyena like you? I never understood why they prayed in church for a good man, knowing that they wasn't worthy, but they want to have God finesse the system for them in order to give them a good man that they know they don't deserve. Why should God love him too? God probably loves him more than you because he's been doing the right thing his whole life. This man has stayed out of trouble. He ain't had no kids out of wedlock. He been taking care of business. He went to school. He paid his taxes. He did everything that he was supposed to do. And he ain't the dude that's for you because you was for the streets. And so you praying for God to send you a great man, not a good man, a great man, 6 figures, taking care of business. And he got that D. But you laid down for every dude that was on the football team, and now you asking God to sing. What, God don't love him? You don't think that what you was praying for fairness, but God don't love him too? Why should that man have to suffer as a result of being a stepdad to your child when you decided to have kids out of wedlock with a dude that he shouldn't even have to deal with as far as negotiating with your baby daddy? Your baby daddy is a thug, and he gonna be getting out of prison in 2 years. And this good man has got to sit there and go back and forth with your baby daddy. Now tell me that that's fair. Why should this good man have to deal with your baby daddy that's getting out of prison? And he listed you as the residence that he needs to go to after he get out of the halfway house. And you pray for this good man, but all you're going to do is burden him with a burden that God never intended for his life to be like in the first place. Why should this man have to suffer as a result of it? Tell me. But let's go back to our original point. Should a man get married once he's become successful? Once he's become successful, he has a good job, he has a great income, he's visible, he's not visible, he's famous, he's not famous, but he's a great dude. He loves God, he treats his parents with respect, he did the right thing, he was on top of things. What I, Anton Daniels, suggest a man get married in his later age, considering everything that we've had as far as what progression looks like. We have feminism, women can work, they put their careers first, they take care of business and all of this other type. Would I ever give a man advice that he should get married once he hits a certain age? Let's give it a real number. Let's make this a real person, right? We have a man. This man is 38 years old, right? He's graduated college. He has no student loan debt. He owns his own home. He makes roughly $140,000 a year, and he has upward mobility, which means that we know for a fact that most men don't hit their peak earning potential until in their late 50s, early 60s. So this man has a good window of another 20, 25 years of just killing it, getting to the bag, taking care of business. His parents reverence him. His mother loved him. His father put a lot of good energy into him. And he is a phenomenal dude. I mean, this dude is a catch. He's a catch, right? Every woman want him, right? He has this option and his pick. Should this man get married? Would I personally suggest that this man gets married? That's the question. That's the question that we all want to mine through in order to better understand exactly what we face in a society today. I will tell you, personally, he did not get married. He did not heed my advice. I would say absolutely, positively no.
Let me stop right there. Okay. So you hear Anton. So that's what he said. And I suggest everybody go back and find this video and watch it in its entirety because it was pretty good. So he let me come up to speak to him, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And so I'm gonna get to a point where we could start it. And so listen, this was my response back to him. He asked anybody come up if you have a different of opinion, come on up and talk to me. That's what he said. And so I heard his monologue and I thought it was pretty good. And I said, okay, let's I'll be a huckleberry. So this is my conversation that I had with him. Okay. And it's kind of long and lengthy, but it's worse. It's worth listening to. I thought it was pretty fun, and I appreciate him ahead of time for letting me come up and speak to him. So fair use, fair use.
Just did an impromptu live, and we got 500 people in here rocking out. Let's see what it is that the people got to say, but only if you disagree with me. What's going on, my friend?
Hey man, how you doing, man? Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing?
All right, how you doing, Anton? Yeah,
Chilling,
you know
chilling.
me.
What's the
I'm
word?
R-Pain. I've been around.
Yeah, you've
Hey,
been
listen,
around. What up, though?
I disagree from the standpoint you sound absolutist.
Mhm.
I believe that prenups work. I do believe that if they're written properly, and there's steps you have to take, and there's also a man with that much uh, assets moving forward, he has to have a legacy somehow,
What?
right? There's a couple.
So you
So
saying
see,
that? So you saying that a man that is making a significant amount of money, should put himself in harm's way of having to pay a significant amount of child support just because he want to have kids?
no, well, hold on. Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, Anton, you have one. You had to go through a deep process to have the one you have. You talked about that many times.
I was okay with not having none.
No, I hear you, but you're not the norm. Okay, you're not
I am.
because
I'm what normal. Listen, I would say this, Arpain. I say that I am what normal is supposed to look like. We've perverted what normal looks like, and that everybody
not
is
having
moving.
kids.
Is everybody is not? No, normal is making an informed decision and responsible decision based off of the circumstances that you live in society. It's not about whether or not you're having kids. We live in a society now where we're technologically advanced. There's a whole lot of people on this earth. We live in an America that's basically becoming Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't want my kids to be raised in an indoctrination camp. We know that it costs a significant amount of money to actually put a kid in a position to be successful long term. And so, what normal is adapting to the environment and making an informed decision. I would say that I'm more normal than anybody.
No,
Yes.
no, brother. No, you're not. No, you're not. I mean, you listen. Maybe we might evolve into what you're saying, but you are so far ahead of the average rank and file human being,
That has
right?
nothing to
In
do
the
with making an
percentage.
informed decision.
No, wait. Let me finish. Let me just finish this from the standpoint of procreation. Okay, I can't disagree with what you just said, but for you to think that the average rank and file man or woman, for that matter, but men would think just as what you just said about the overpopulation of the earth. And let me think about how bad the earth is right now to bring children into it. The average person is not thinking that. So the
Yeah,
so
but I
so
mean, but that's why we've always had people over us, your father, your mother, to help you make a more informed decision when you didn't have the brain development to actually make the decision for yourself.
no, I don't disagree with that, but you're almost advocating for the extinction of the human race
Now
based
you
on what
know
you're
that there
saying.
will be no extinction of the
That's well,
army of
that's
Romans that's walking
I
around here.
no. I do know that. That's why you're going to always be in a level of thought that's going to be in a minority because the average person is not going to think like you. However, he could make more informed decisions than the hyenas out there breeding like
So,
people in them forests. I mean,
so
like animals in the
you
forest.
think that a man that has been significantly successful should get married to a woman that has been with multiple different women, because we know that it's like a 98% chance that whoever it is that he get, she's already done gave her body over and her virginity and the best of herself to somebody that didn't deserve it.
I
You
don't.
think
I
that
don't
that
think he
man
should.
should marry that woman?
No, no, I don't think he should. I think if a man is that well off and he's worried about his legacy in terms of assets, he can seek out a more pure woman than just picking up some random chick from
Where?
the streets.
Where in America? Where in America
No,
can?
no, no. Well, why would his hunting ground just be the West? I would look to the East. I would look to people where the culture dictates what kind of women you have. I wouldn't be worrying about marrying some black chick or somebody. I would if I was
But
that
why get
wealthy.
married at all?
Well. Let me finish. He doesn't have to get married. If he does get married, he has to have a prenup, right? Done the right way. Second, if not get married and he wants children, he had to find a surrogate that he could buy his children, like Michael Jackson.
No, man.
Yes,
No,
yes, you can do that.
no.
I mean, tell me,
Why? Why?
well, what
Okay,
is
but
he
wait,
gonna?
wait, wait. But the conversation is based off of why getting married, though, right?
Yeah,
Why would
okay.
this man that has already built his legacy ever get married to what it is that he?
I wouldn't get married in the West, that's for sure. Not like that. Even with the prenup, scares the hell out of people too, because they find ways around it. But there's ways. Listen, if you're that, you can have a prenup. You know the steps to go through to have a prenup that's better than somebody with something on a napkin, right?
Well, what's the
You have a
okay? But
lawyer.
I get that. I don't disagree with you that there is ways in order to do it right. What I'm saying is, a man that's already established himself. What is the benefit of marriage?
Because he's a human being. But humans,
That
you
is not a reason.
no.
Give me a
Okay, you didn't let
tangible
me.
reason of what is the benefit of marriage for this guy that is established. I'm not talking
Okay,
about a young man
okay.
that hasn't built
Support.
anything or anything like that, and he's gonna marry
I hear you. I hear you.
and
I
a
hear you.
chick that's a virgin. What is the benefit of marriage? Let's say I'm 41 years old, right?
Yes,
Let's say I get divorced today. My daughter is already
Okay.
grown, or not grown, but she's 15 and she's gonna be grown out of high school in a few years or whatever like that, right? Let's say
Right.
something happened to where a life event with my wife, because I would never get divorced, right? But let's say a life event.
Okay.
Right? What's the benefit of me getting married today?
Okay. First of all, you're not a good example. Let me say why you're not.
Why?
Because you already. Let me. But I like your example. I want to answer the question without making it you,
Okay.
because you already have a daughter who's your legacy.
I don't
Men,
look at
some men,
legacy as I don't look at a legacy
but,
as,
but most men do.
but I
Most men
don't.
do.
I don't believe that legacy is kids. Okay, so give me an okay.
Yeah. So
What,
that's what I want to say.
wait. What is Martin Luther King's kids doing?
Okay, I didn't say there should be a guarantee of outcome for your legacy. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I did not say that, brother. I just said
Bill Gates'
some people
daughter.
just like to.
Bill Gates'
I'm,
daughter is getting buzzed down by a black guy right now.
I'm
Bill
just saying.
Gates'
Well,
daughter
first
is
of
getting
all, I
buzzed
don't
down
think
by a
it.
black guy right now.
I don't feel that it's a downgrade for his daughter to be bust down by a black guy.
Fair
Because
use.
I don't look at black people that
But
way.
the legacy that he wants is defined by him, not by what his daughter. It doesn't matter what you think. It only matters who the person that had the
Yeah,
kids think.
no,
And if he
I
don't
agree
want,
with
if
you.
he no. If his intention to have kids was to be defined according to what his purpose is and what his legacy wants to be, and it goes completely off the rails as a result of it, then what legacy is that?
Let me. Can I answer?
Yeah,
First of all, you keep trying to confine me to these eaches that is not real life. Okay.
it is
However,
real life.
well, we don't know how Bill Gates feels about his daughter being bust down by the brother. We don't know. Let's come back to kind of reality for a second.
Our pain. Are we really doing this?
Okay. So maybe he has a little angst about this, about it. Okay. Let's get to a more general conversation. Okay. If I'm rich, if you're rich, and you're worried about the laws in the West, which you should be, but you still want children. How do you solve that problem? Right now, I'm not asking the question, it's rhetorical. How do you solve that problem? If you're a man and you want children, some men want children, even if they're rich. I know being married to any hyena or a person who wasn't a hyena when you married her, that doesn't mean she won't turn into a hyena after you marry her. So you have to find a woman who has a cultural background if you want to
You
if you
don't
want a
think of
wife.
them women as chameleons over there? I'm
No,
over
no,
here. No. I'm in a
there, there
Dominican.
are, there,
I'm in the
there are,
Dominican
man. We
Republic.
going to the.
I'm in the Dominican Republic right now, and these chicks.
No, you can't count the Dominican Republic. You can't count the women. Come on, man. You can't count the
Okay, so
Dominican.
tell me where to go.
Let me just finish the scenario. There's two choices for a man, right? If you want kids as your legacy, forget about the wife for a second. There's two ways you could do it. You could get married with as much of an ironclad prenup as you can. You can, so the kids could be within your wedlock, or you could do surrogacy, right? You can have a surrogate woman to give you kids. You don't have to have nothing to do with the chick. You don't have to have anything to do with it. Those are your kids. You pay her a lump sum amount of money. Chick, give me the kids. Get the hell out of here.
What's the
And
good amount of money that I should have to pay her?
well, it's a negotiation with you and the honey. Right? That's a negotiation with you and the honey and her lawyer and your lawyer. I mean, I'm
So
serious.
I gotta get a legal precedent in order to be able to have kids now. You know how
Why you
crazy
can't
this sounds?
wait a minute, wait a minute. So you are you advocating that because you have money, you should just go through the rest of your life with nobody to have a companion with?
I didn't say money was a factor. I said that I gave a lot of
You
different
said it
factors.
was rich.
But that wasn't the only thing I said. I said that he was a good, upstanding gentleman, that he doesn't have any kids out of wedlock, he honors his parents, that he's God-fearing.
Okay.
I gave a whole list of things that
That's the
makes
kind
this
of
man
man
a
who's
great
going to want
man.
to
He has
have a
a great
family.
network. Huh?
That's the kind of man who's going to want to have a family.
Fair enough. I'm not taking that away. I'm saying that when you look at the risk versus the rewards, is it worth him putting everything that he built his entire
No,
life
it's
on the line?
not. No, it's not without safeguards. I agree with you. No, it's not without safeguards. So you have to put safeguards in
Ain't
there.
no
And you got
safeguards when you start having kids with a chick. Ain't no
there's
safeguards.
but you know about risk, right? If you have kids with a
Yeah.
chick within marriage, that's one thing. If you have kids with a chick who you have a deal with on a surrogacy level, that's another risk. She might change her mind. However, there's almost a finite amount of money you might have to pay
You
her.
know what I think?
Right?
You know what my goal is if I didn't have kids?
What's that?
Or if I didn't
Okay.
have a kid, to spend every dime of it before I die.
Okay. All right. But you ain't okay. You know, Anton, here's the one thing you can't accept.
What?
You are not the average dude. You don't think
Why
like the
not?
average
Yes, I
guy.
am. I'm very much the average guy.
No, 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 no.
I'm a deep
Your
student.
personality is very great. You got a great personality for
Thank
where
you.
you are. But the average guy, even with money, might not think like you, right? So I'm serious. Even you didn't want no kids, but
You'd
it
be
made sense
surprised.
to
There's
have
more guys that think like me than not.
maybe so. But listen. You might have advocated for no kids, but you know you got a daughter. You wouldn't turn in for the world.
What? But that don't have nothing to do with what we talking about.
But you found a way to do it and be happy doing it.
No, I gave the solution.
Not happy. I hate the word happy. You found a way to
I
do
said
it.
that guys need, if you're going to get married when you're poor and young, to a person that is your best friend going in the direction that you're going in. That
Okay,
way
so
they have just as much skin in the game as you.
okay, so
They
let
have
me
a
tell you one of
vested
my
interest in
failings.
you being successful. They have a
I don't
vested
disagree.
interest in what y'all building together. But the scenario that I gave you was a guy that has already established himself based off of not being with somebody.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm trying to say, and I'm giving you his alternative. Because the one alternative, I agree with you, is that he shouldn't fall in love and get married based on some stupid shit like love. I agree with you there.
So he should
Because
get married based off of what?
well,
You haven't even
he's
Arpan,
got to make a business decision.
you haven't given me the reason why marriage makes sense for this guy in the first place. Outside of because you don't need to get married to have kids if you just want to get a surrogate and all
Well,
that.
I gave you that one. I told you get a surrogate.
But why should he get married though? You didn't give me that reason.
No, he doesn't have, listen, okay, I'm an advocate for marriage, right? But I'm an advocate for
Why?
marriage, but because let me tell you, I believe that is something innate about us to cleave to another person. Most of
So
us have done
an
that.
advocate for marriage is based off of the fact that you like marriage.
But no, I don't just like it because I didn't have to get married. When I searched for my wife, there was something more than me that made me found the woman I
Oh,
have.
see,
But let me finish.
skew,
Let me finish this.
you're not
I'll give it
objective.
back.
You're not
All I'm
objective.
just trying to say, you don't have to get married, though, man. I agree with that.
You're not
That
basing this
man,
off of a realistic environment in which men are suffering today. You're basing this off of the fact that you like being married and you found a woman that's actually dope. We can't have the conversation based off of that. I'm not having a conversation
I agree
based
with
off
that. I
of our
agree with
relationship.
you.
I'm having a conversation based off of the current environment and circumstances that we live in today, and it is dire. It's dire.
Yes.
It's
That's
bad.
why. Well, hold on now. Let me tell you, I'm not trying to make everybody go back to the 1980s, okay? I'm trying to tell you in this modern era, there's guys who feel like me. So what do they do?
Stay
What do
single.
they do? What I'm saying, if they not even just feel, there's guys who think like me, who want to have a
Stay
wife,
single.
who don't want it. So what does a guy in this modern era with assets do? Does he
Stay
stay single
single
for the
and
rest?
travel the world and have a good time and let the
Well,
world
okay,
experience
yeah,
different things and go and visit different countries and in environments and all that type of stuff. Why do guys base their existence off of a woman when in reality everything that they built was based off of everything outside of a woman? Why put themselves in
Well,
a position to be the bullseye of a woman?
well, you can't have it both ways, Anton.
What do
You
you
can't,
mean?
because you just, well, let me tell you why you can have
I
it
don't
both
base my
ways.
life off of no
No,
woman.
but I'm not saying that. Forget about you basing your life. I'm not saying you basing your life on what you basing on. You have stream after stream, enough stream telling us that everything that's happening in this world has a woman in its base.
Everything
Whether the
that's
guy,
everything that suffers in the
yeah,
world,
whether the
it
guy's
comes as a
married to
result
her or
of the
not,
woman at the forefront.
whether the guy's married to her or not. So all I'm trying to say is a man's existence cannot be separated from a woman in his existence. Some men
Absolutely, it
just don't.
can.
No, but it's not.
A man's
It
purpose.
can be, but
Listen,
the
a
average.
man had a purpose before a woman was ever created.
See, now you putting words in my. I didn't say that
Men
has to
had
be his
purpose
purpose.
before women ever existed.
Yeah, I didn't say that was.
This
Well,
is what we
listen, if
got
you want to
into
believe in
Adam and
Adam
Eve.
and Eve, right?
I was
How
thinking
long was
about
he on the earth before
this,
God
but
told him, "Hey,
We
give me
don't
a
know.
rib"?
We don't know.
Yeah, well, why did God give him a rib and say, "Hey, put a woman there for"?
Because he
Why
was
did he do
lonely.
that?
this is the Adam and Eve discussion we had. But you know what? I'm gonna leave it in. This might make it a little bit longer video, but that's okay. It is a complete conversation.
Okay, so Adam was the first sim.
Yeah. Did you see what his wife did to him? Was
Listen,
it
man, you
worth
know
it?
what?
Should Adam have stayed by himself, or should he have
But it
sat
wasn't
there,
his
let that
choice.
hoe get bust down by the serpent? Then the serpent sent her over with some fruit. Said, "Get this to your man." And then they got him kicked out of their home. They got him kicked out of the oasis, all because he was. Think about it. Think about it. Our pain.
I
This is
agree.
exactly my point. Think about it. This is exactly.
Atera is the IT painkiller. Remote monitoring and management, remote access, help desk and ticketing, smart automations.
My point.
Stupid ass.
Adam
Gave you
got
some
kicked out of
evidence.
the kingdom. He had the world at his feet. He named every animal. He could eat what he wanted. He was walking around naked. And this hoe got beguiled by something that didn't even have legs and got them kicked out of their home. And then he had to till the earth for the rest of his life.
Anton, he didn't ask for the woman. God gave him the
Punished
woman.
us.
Huh?
Punished us.
By giving him the woman.
Because we weren't content with what God had already gave us, and we wanted something else to get our rocks off. And so he gave us this evil
Adam didn't ask for the woman. Adam didn't ask for her.
but
God
he
said
wasn't
no.
content. He wasn't content.
Did they say that? I'm trying to think back to my Exodus days.
It wasn't
God
Exodus, it was
told
Genesis. It was Genesis.
I mean Genesis days. God didn't. He didn't tell God, "I'm not content." God said, "Listen, you know what?
He didn't have to say it. It was in his thoughts. He was already lonely. And that's why God said, "Well, it's not good for this simp to be alone by itself."
You know what, man? You know what? You got a capital N going on, man. I'm just telling you, the need to be right. All I'm just trying to say
Okay,
is,
so what happened? Listen. Before Adam, before woman, Adam might have been a little bit bored. However,
right?
the end result was they got kicked out of the oasis, and then they had a
Yes,
bunch of
I agree.
kids that wind up killing each other.
I mean, I can't argue there, man. I can't
Cain
argue with you
killed
there.
Abel because he wound up getting jealous because that hoe had a kid. And come on, man. Everything went to hell after that.
Okay,
Everything went to hell.
so
Then
Anton, let me ask
they
you,
became the
you,
Canaanites. I know
okay,
my Bible.
but let me also say to you, like, let's bring it back to 2023, right?
No, you just gonna skip over what it is that we just said?
Now, I agree with that. I agree with a lot of that.
So
I mean,
the woman
we can
sowed the
bet on.
seed of evil inside of the garden, got him kicked out because she wanted to eat fruit, and on the one tree that God told her not to eat it from.
But Anton, after all of those centuries, do you think that no man ever had a thought like you for thousands of centuries? How can we still find our ways back to the chicks? I mean,
Because God knew that was our one weakness, man.
Okay, it is our one weakness for a purpose. You know why?
Why?
Do you know why?
Wow.
because he wants to have more people on the earth. That's why humans don't mate during season. That's why we, as crazy as we are, he still put pleasure sensors on your Johnson and the woman's whatchamacallit, so we could always want to have sex. That's why you can't put females in a male prison and vice versa. You put men and women together, we're gonna stroke. It's just gonna happen. There's no way around it. So that rich man you're talking about, that rich man is not gonna go through life without somehow busting down some chicks. And
Listen,
he's not going to do it.
that guys bust down their hands. They gonna bust down.
Okay, so I'm gonna spend all this time becoming a millionaire to use my hand. That's the last thing I want to use.
Dudes do it
I
all the
could
time.
do that as an incel.
Dudes do it all the time.
Yeah, but besides the point, you're gonna want the nice, fleshy, earthy, real thing every so
But
often.
you moving the goalpost. The question is, why should a man that has established himself get married?
He doesn't have to. He doesn't
based
have to
off
get
of the
married.
environment
He
that we
doesn't
live
have to.
in Western culture today?
I agree with you. He does not have to get married. But if he wants children, he has to do something to protect his assets.
It's a bad deal.
Because, having children is a bad deal.
2023, it is. Yeah.
Being married, I concede the whole point. Even the prenup
Having
will get your ass
children,
kicked.
having children in 2023 and beyond is a bad deal for men.
How you gonna tell some man that he shouldn't have kids when he got all this money
If he
and all this
knew
stuff?
what it was going to cost him and how many days it was going to take off of his,
And
I
you don't think
that he would reconsider.
Well, he might be considerate, but he might want to have one or two. I mean,
If
he
he
doesn't want
knew,
nobody.
if most men were able to see how they were going to suffer as a result of the decisions that they make to have a kid with the woman that they have a kid with, I would bet you that they would choose not to have that kid.
I hear you, but that's why if you're rich, that's why surrogacy is an economic way to do it. That's an economic. If you're a multimillionaire, well, hey, suppose you have to
We're not
spend
talking about multimillionaires. We're just
400,000.
talking about people in general.
People in general is never going to live. Okay, now you're bringing it down to my
A
level.
successful man don't have to necessarily be a multimillionaire.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that, and he's going to want to have children and a legacy. The average guy, the average successful man wants children and a legacy. He does. I mean, you
And
can't
that's why I
deny that. I
know,
mean,
and it's still a bad deal, regardless of what they want. It's a bad deal.
all right, brother. But listen, I hear what you're saying, and you have some points about, especially about marriage. But you still haven't tackled the hurdle of a man wanting to see his seed carry on through history.
It's a bad idea. They need to let it go.
It's easy to say when you have a child. It's easy to say when you have your kid. It has everything to do with it, brother.
My legacy is not defined by me having a kid.
No, it's not. It's not. But your legacy is not completely under your control once you're gone, and some people are fine with that.
Once I'm gone, what the hell do I care? I don't even know what the hell is going on this earth.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But at least there's somebody here with a blood marker that you were here. Not your money. Nobody's gonna give a shit. It doesn't matter whether you care about what you're doing.
I do, because I'm the person.
Let me tell you why I'm so passionate. Can I tell you why I'm passionate about this? And I don't want to, take up your time.
Let me see.
Okay, I keep the family tree of my family.
Okay.
From my grandmother and grandfather, who were in the greatest generation from 1900s till now. And from them, there's like 200 and something of us in the seventh generation now. And I can see, based on following the genealogy, how our family is being impacted by the degeneration of the Black community. And it's based on marriage.
Wait. So stop there, Arpain. So what you're saying is that it's some pookies in your family.
Oh, you got that. We got a little bit of everything in the goddamn thing. You can't. I mean, we live in this world. We live in this world, brother. We live in this world. But all the way up to the baby boomers, most of us were married.
But
right?
I mean,
and maybe,
gosh, like what's? Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
No, I'm finished anyway. So I can see that in Generation X, the millennials, and now Gen Z, how the mindsets have changed. However, all the unwed babies in our family, and it's going to change soon. I keep telling these people that in my family, nobody went unfed, nobody went uneducated, nobody went homeless, right? And they, nobody, so nobody went hungry, right? Or whatever. I said that already. So the point is that safety net is dying off. So if they think the millennials are going to take care of it, if I can find the right woman or the right man, let's get married and make a bond because that keeps the family strong. So I would like to be able
we need to die off.
to.
We need to die off.
It's happening anyway, brother. It's happening anyway, whether we want to or not. We see it in front of our eyes.
I
So I
agree.
don't disagree with you there. Anyway, man, I don't want to hog this thing up, man. But
So that was a little long there, but that was just my conversation with him is coming. It came to an end. So I have a little bit more. So let's just go back to sharing what I have. And we're going to just end this. I got a couple more things and what I should have said when I had the opportunity to talk to him and I didn't get it all in. All right. So let's go from there. So all I can say is that I thought that was an interesting conversation. I really appreciate Anton letting me up. But like most people, you have a couple of conversations, right? You have one in real time with the person you're talking to, and you don't get all of the things and the points out that you want to say to kind of nail the issue. And then there's a conversation you have afterwards. I call it the conversation to the steering wheel, where you get out all the stuff you want to say. So this was my steering wheel conversation. And I labeled this is what I should have said when I had the opportunity to talk to her. And so I'm not going to be too much longer. Well, first off, I agree with Anton that many, many other men and marriages, under today's laws, the marriages under today's laws, and the climate is very treacherous. It's a rocky road for men with means, of course, right? Women just tend, no matter how much they say they love you in the past, they tend to try to rake the guy over the coals. However, reality is that marriage rates are pretty much at an all-time low, and successful men will still opt to get married at some point or have children. So what's the solution? Well, I mean, what are we going to give them? We can't just say, "Go, don't get married," right? So there's got to be some alternatives. What are you going to tell these guys? Well, so I should have, what I should have done is challenge Anton a little bit more on the topic of the fact that he's married and has a daughter. To make it clear, family means everything to him. You could just listen to his when he talks about his wife, he talks about his daughter. It means a lot to him. I mean, he might be a millionaire, he's got all this stuff going on, but a lot of the stuff seems that he's doing it not only for his own bag, but to please them. Why would you want to deprive any other bag chasers from that? So I should have challenged him on that point a little bit more. That's what I'm thinking, right? And I should have discussed the options of living together, right? There's cohabitation laws in 8 states left. Now, if you don't want to get married, you got to be careful not to live in common law because there's 8 steps that recognize common law as if it was marriage, probably over a certain period of time. That's Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Montana, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Texas, and Utah. So if you're cohabitating with a woman there, even if you're not married, if you're split up, she can still come after you. So you still got to have whatever is the equivalent of a prenup, even in common law in those 8 states. So that's something to think about. So, but Texas, from what I understand, has really kind of favorable child support laws. You got to remember, a prenup doesn't cover you with child support. It doesn't. It covers your alimony. It covers how much you want to split assets. You can negotiate all that stuff in a prenup, but it does not cover child support. If I understand, Texas is a good child support state because they don't try to rake you over the coals, right? So and then I should have reinforced one of the main reasons why men chase the bag, right? One of the things that men really actually try to get successful for the admiration of women. We cannot deny that. We could try to, right? It's not just to bust down women. We try to achieve as much as we can so we could pick the best woman that's available for the level that we attain. That's what we do. That's what most men do. Even if it's conscious or unconscious, that's what we do. So the majority of the men want to leave a legacy, right? So we got to tell them how to protect themselves because they're going to do it anyway. So no matter how bad the laws are, there's still men. And every day we're seeing men get raked over the coals because they go into these situations like marriage without the proper insurance, which is a prenup. Or if you don't want to get married at all, you don't want to deal with the chick, you can go through surrogacy and it's a negotiation. And let me tell you, even if it costs you $100,000 or something like that, isn't and you're a man of means, isn't that cheaper than divorce, alimony, and child support? Just go ahead and get a surrogate, pay the one lump sum, try to make sure the lawyers are involved. So I'm just saying, this whole notion that, we shouldn't, have kids or we should just not do any of this stuff. I don't agree with any of that. Right. So here's the thing that if you do want to have children and you want to cohabitate with somebody in those states where they don't recognize common law marriages, you still have to have paperwork. You still have to have, at the very least, I'm not going to go through all the paperwork you need, but what happens if something happens to both of you? Who gets to raise your children? That's something that has to be codified. That has to be on the record. Well, so finally, I can go on and on, but you get my point. Men are always going to seek to procreate, to have a legacy. And, so instead of telling them not to do it, we got to provide solutions. So I'm going to end it here. So once again, folks, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Comments are always welcome. I appreciate Anton for he did a video and he highlighted my name, the same kind of video, but this is my response to the video. He has his own on his channel, and go to Anton Daniels' channel to see what he set it up. What I did here was I gave you a little bit of more context of what he said to start this conversation. But I'm telling you, his full soliloquy on how he feels about the women and the dating market is actually it's a gem. All right, so like I said, I have, for those of you who do want to get married, you can check out my video. Has 10 steps to courting and vetting a woman for marriage. I'm not giving that up. You just got to go through the process. Anyway, so this RPay, Marriage, Politics, and Sports, MPS, over and out. Thanks for listening.